Hi everybody. I thought I'd actually turn on the camera today and start recording a beginning of a little bitty book. I'm going to be using some little girl photos on it. Make a little lace book. My sizing on this is 3¼ inches by 5 inches in the shape of an oval. And I call this the adorable size just so I know what's what. Excuse me, I'm just getting started with a new, I guess a new arrangement in my craft room. I have totally turned everything around. I've been cleaning and organizing and trying to get everything, sorry about that, didn't mean to leave that there. And trying to get everything kind of organized so that I can start this again. I had ended up last year with this huge pile on this table of all my laces, all my other stuff. Everything was just kind of, thrown on, and I didn't even have but this much room to work with. And so I decided it's time to clean and organize. And because I had the thought to clean and organize, why not just move everything in the room on this side and just redo it so that it's more functional. I think it's going to be great. I will show you the room eventually when it's done. Probably closer to summer because I still have all the little stuff to do. I did the big stuff. You know how that is when you first move in. You got to, move the big stuff in first. And so that's what I did. I've moved the big stuff. I've switched the tables around and all the shelving, and I've got the majority, I guess, of all of my crates and I don't even know what all to call it, tubs and crates of lace and stuff like that. I've got the majority of that on shelves. In a way I think is going to work, and so I'm hoping so bad that I have the energy to continue. Once you start a project you hate to stop, but I'm finding that every day it seems like I have less energy. So, anyway, we'll see. I'm also still dealing with this ankle that I refuse to give time to let heal. I think if I would stop doing everything for a couple of weeks and put my foot up, it might actually heal. But let's get into the project. And for right now, I'm going to use kind of what I had on my table and have now reorganized and reset up. I no longer have two tables, which are really just doors, for my tabletops on top of bookcases. The bookcases hold the door on top. And I had two doors, and they were butted up against each other. What I did is I moved the one that was in the back to the back wall, made a space in between that was big enough for my chair to move around in. And then I took this table that I usually work on, and I turned it halfway around. My husband and I picked it up and turned it around. And so now I'm facing the opposite direction in the room, which I kind of like because it's bigger and opener. And now I can, over there is where all that pretty lace wall is, with all my collections of old stuff. So I'm facing that way instead of to the back. And I think I like that better. Plus my windows are over that direction, and I have light, like I can see outside and see, the weather. Anyway, the first thing I'm going to do, I have cut 4 pages this size using a template and felt. And now I'm going to start putting the pages together using just a rectangular piece of felt. And if y'all are new to this, to my channel, and have not seen how I put together a lace book, the felt base part of it, do refer back to that. I will make mention of that in the box below. I will add the link to that. And since this is the first time that I have made anything with the lace in quite a while, I may have some little faux pas like, you know, I hadn't thought ahead enough to remember to do this or that. So I hope that's not going to happen. But we'll see. I usually just line up the bottom of my pages on a straight line, and then I'm able to get everything lined up. And I leave a little bit of a space in between so that when I turn a page, I'll have room to actually put some goodies in there. So I think I did it that way. I'm going to put those together. I'm going to put these together. I'll leave a little space. And then as I get these little rectangular pieces attached, you'll see that I'll come back to it and get the rest of the rectangle glued down. This is just the getting it together part, and then I will make sure of the adhering on the other pieces that, like right there, you can tell it's not all the way through. So I will get that done, and then I'll start the decoration. Excuse me, of my pages. I've been coughing all day, just trying to clear my throat. Everybody says out here, I'm in Tennessee, and spring is you know, a little bit later out here because we're kind of up in altitude in the mountains. They're saying that this week has been one of the worst out here because of the, you know, spring and all the pollen and stuff. And I guess I have to agree because I just can't seem to shake it. It's like a constant. Let's see which way I want those. Sometimes I remember which is which. I think I'm going to do it that way. And now that I have this page and this page, I want to put together these pages. Actually, I think I'm going to do it this way, yeah. So that the little flap will be on the inside. And then when I put these two together with the little flap or rectangular piece, I'm going to kind of push these over to the side on this one and this one. And then doing the same idea, I'm going to line up these two pages, leave a little bit of room so I can get some goodies in there. And then I'm going to attach what I just called the flap, I think. Anyway, the attaching piece. And make sure that's adhered a little bit on both sides. And that will make the base of my book to work with. It takes no time at all for me to make one of these. Once I get it ready, it's ready to decorate. And I love that about using felt as my base and the flaps as my side, the spine. It makes the spine of the book. And as I said, it leaves enough room, as you can see, for me to put laces in layers, and it'll make a nice thick little book. It'll have a front cover and a back cover, and the interior will now have 6 pages. And I'm going to open it up to the first one, and I want to decide kind of how I'm going to put the photos. I generally work where the girls are facing each other, the faces of whatever I'm working with face each other. I sometimes can make that happen, and sometimes I can't. So I think I want those two together and these two together. And I'll do it more like that. And actually, I want these on the first set of pages. That the second and that the third. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to set those aside in a place where I'm not going to mess them up because I want to keep that in order. And before I do the front of the book, which I think I'm not going to put a photo on the front of the book. I think I'm going to just do a rose or some kind of flower. This is where I like to come in and determine what I don't need in the photograph. And sometimes I come up with some really cool, interesting shapes that I can work with. I'll try to round that a little bit and then maybe make it similar on the other side. Kind of get rid of that part. And that's a shape that I can't tell you what it is. It's not anything that I'm aware of. But the picture, the photograph itself told me kind of what to cut off. And so when I do that, I end up with some very interesting shapes. Sometimes they, you know, as you'll see, sometimes they kind of dictate to me what it's going to do. And since I'm using these in a much smaller book, this time I want to really take advantage of as many angles as I can get because I like to edge my pictures. I kind of like that too. Don't think I'm going to... I thought about taking off this edge and curving that around. But I think I'm going to leave it straight because this, I like the double edge down here. Almost like a chevron right down there. I think I'm going to leave that. And we'll get started by putting it on a... I'll sure make it thick if I do. But because I have now rearranged everything, I don't know where any other fabrics are for me to work with. Except, oh, that's a paper towel. But that's about the thinness I want. But I don't know where any of my fabrics are right now. I would rather work with something a little thinner. And I don't have anything that I can see that I can just go and pick up and bring back. So anyway, this will take a while for me to get used to over here. Now that I have moved everything, literally everything was moved. There is nothing left where it originally was. So I get to relearn this room, which kind of is fun if you think about it. Because I get to go through everything I have and decide now, you know, is this a keep or is this a giveaway or whatever. I've got to cull down on the stuff that I use and either use it or get rid of it because I have way too many things in this room and it's no longer functional. It's hindering my creativity. Do y'all ever find that to be true? I mean, used to I thought, oh, I just need a bigger room. I'll be so creative if I have more space to put all this junk. All I do is store it because I don't have the space for it. And once it's stored, out of sight, out of mind. And when it's out of my mind, it's gone. I mean, I'll remember it when I see it again, but like right this second, I can't tell you what's underneath this desk in storage. So anyway, I've decided I'm not, because of the shape of the book is so tiny, I'm not going to put any kind of stuffing behind my pictures. Sometimes I will raise the picture up just a little bit and make them look kind of more or less like a cameo. But for now, I'm not going to. I'm just going to adhere it straight down to the felt and give it a backing. And that also gives me a spot to start putting, instead of on just that little piece of material that I printed onto, it gives me a spot on the back of this, on the felt, to adhere with my glue gun, of course, all of the little lace tidbits and edgings and stuff that I want to use to decorate around the picture. And you'll notice I'm just putting glue around the edges. Because I've already cut out my image, I don't need to glue all the way down in the middle and all. This will be plenty to hold it and to keep the shape of it. I don't like taking chances either to put glue underneath a good photo, because sometimes I'm afraid it's going to bleed through. So I'd rather not do that. My husband's been busy outside getting a few plants planted, not near what he did last year. When we first moved here and had our first spring, which was, by the way, we live in Tennessee, the northeastern corner of Tennessee, up near the Bristol Motor Speedway, which is having a big old race today. Or was that yesterday? I guess it was yesterday, I guess. And so thankfully we're not right next to the speedway, or we'd be hearing all that. But it is kind of a fun place to live. We love it here. We came from Texas a year and a half ago in the fall, and we got here just in time to see the beautiful, I mean gorgeous, colors on the mountains here. And I cannot tell you, I just could not drive almost, because I was just in awe of all the color. I've never seen it before, only on TV or in calendars. Have never been a well-traveled person, and so I never did get to see it before. And last year, we didn't have enough rain, they said, to make the colors really pop. It was beautiful to me, but it wasn't as splendid as the year before. So last year was not as good. And I have to agree, it wasn't as good as the previous year, but it was still real pretty. And now that it's spring, our second spring here, I'm really enjoying seeing all the beautiful foliage. It's just now, our trees are just now putting out. Here it is, tax day, April 17th, I think, and of 2017, and we're just now getting leaves on the trees at our place because we're that high up in the mountains. It's like incredible. So different from Texas. Okay, one of the first things I like to do in any of my little books, besides pick out my photos and make the little book, is to put fabric over the pages. And I keep everything, as y'all probably have figured out. And sometimes they fit, sometimes they don't. That's going to be too small. Let's see if that little tidbit will work. I think it will. Let me see. Because of what I put around the edges, I don't have to come all the way exactly to the edges. And I usually put something down the middle of the book. I think that's going to work. I'm going to cut this little hem piece off. I'm going to use this as a background. And I like to do it so that I can glue directly on the page. I'm going to go ahead and glue this part down. I'm going to hold it down and just pick up a little bit. If I'm sure about the side, it's at the front or the back. I got this beautiful wedding dress, and I left it for weeks before I really decided I could cut it. But what good was it going to do as a wedding dress? You know, I'm already married. Don't need it. Nobody in my family was getting married, so I cut this dress. Plus it had a dirty hem. It had rips here and there. You know, we get those secondhand things. I think I'm gonna do it this way. And so here I am, finally cutting a wedding dress, and I can't seem to cut my Planner Society kits. It's paper, not a wedding dress, but I can cut a wedding dress, no problem. But anyway. Now, on this particular part, I do like to glue down the inside. And that's because the majority of the inside of this is going to be covered up with, of course, the image that I've just put on the felt, and then laces and stuff like that. So it's not 100% necessary to have a pristine background on this. I like to have a pretty background, but most of the time it's not even going to be seen. So that's kind of why I choose to do that. I'm going to go ahead and take this on over, and then I'm going to snip it, and then when I make the other page background, I will probably cover part of that up again. And then as I do each page, I'll be able to just cut around. I can see through this pretty good. Let's see where I need to go. But probably the safer way is to actually flip it over and do it the right way. Always when I lived in Texas, I just loved seeing the plant life in other areas of the United States. And one of the things that I was excited about is that this area has so many beautiful blooming bushes and things. I have been at trees. Oh, the trees are magnificent up here. I don't know what it is I'm seeing. One of them I would call personally a weeping cherry. The branches drape off almost as if it's a, not a wisteria. What is that? Weeping willow. It's almost like a weeping willow tree that drapes downwards, you know. And yet the branches, each of the branches have all the other branches, and they're all covered with these gorgeous pink petals. And it weeps downward and has, oh, be still my heart. I was so excited when I saw this. It's like, do I stop the truck and just get out and go, wow, or do I just keep driving, you know? And then there was another one and another one. So I haven't stopped the truck. Well, I have a few times. I'm taking some pictures, but off the road, not right in the middle of the road yet. I may have to one day. Okay, there's one page. This is fun. I'm excited to be back doing this. And Carol, thank you, because you're the one that kind of got me wanting to do this again. I had already started doing the room and getting it redone, and this was going to be one of my first projects, was to do another book. But after talking to you on Sunday, I decided I'm going to do it now. I just can't wait any longer. I'm just going to do it. So good piece. And I'm going to have to get up in just a second and see how much battery I have left on my phone, because I could be talking to air and not to the camera. Let me check. I don't know how long I have. I'm at 23 minutes. And I don't know how long it's going to go. So we'll give it a few more minutes as I do this page. And then what I'll probably do is finish all the pages background, this part, before I turn the camera back on. And then when I get to decorating with all the photos, I'll come back on. Okay? So I'm going to get to that point, and that means with me and my technology, I'm so savvy, that means it'll be another part. It's not going to be on the same video. So this is part 1. Hold on for part 2. Thanks, y'all.